welcome to another episode of Stadium Unplugged with me, Jay Menon. This is a series in which we speak to a famous name in sport and peel away at the outer personality to find out who they are at their very core. Today I speak with someone who has had an illustrious career with his club, Manchester United, and also his national side, Denmark. This Great Dane won the European Championships with his national side back in 1992. He kept things at club level with more silverware, the UEFA Champions League, 5 Premier League titles, 3 FA Cups, the Portuguese league title, 3 Danish league titles. He has been voted European Goalkeeper of the Year 4 times and twice was honoured as World Goalkeeper of the Year. This 3-time Danish Player of the Year was inducted into the 2003 English Hall of Fame and given an honorary MBE for his contribution to football. Welcome to Stadium Unplugged, Peter Schmeichel. Now I'm going to take you back to a date and see whether you remember this, okay? 7th of August 1972. How old would you have been then?
I would have been 9, or nearly 9.
Did you play your first game?
I did, yeah. And the reason I remember that was my mother was heavily pregnant, and she was, I think she was about 2 weeks overdue, and she was scheduled to go into to the hospital the next day to have the delivery done, and she was, because where I played my first game was just like 100 yards from where I lived. So she was in between watching me and preparing, packing her stuff and stuff like that. And I don't remember the date personally. I just remember, she remembers it from that day. So that's why I always have a specific day when I know I played my first game.
All right, let's take you back to your childhood. What kind of kid were you? Were you the kind of kid that ran around doing things all the time,
Yes.
or yeah?
Yeah. I was the kind of kid that always had to be the best at whatever. I'm not talking about school, math, and I cared about that, but didn't care about being the best at. But physically, if somebody could do something physically, I had to challenge that. And I'm pretty sure my parents were scared at situations, and I'd come back with with cuts and bruises and all that, but I never broke anything, and I kind of think that was quite a valuable thing for me to do, because the better you are with your ability to do different things, I think the better goalkeeper you become.
King of the playground then.
At least I was trying to be.
Control the seesaw and everything else. Well, what kind of sport did you play though, apart from football when you were a kid?
Because the weather in Denmark, you have a summer which you can play football, but in the winter you can't. So the football team I was playing for, we were playing football in the summer and we were playing handball in the winter. So I played those 2 sports.
Okay, now let's start also from when you were a child. You were a Polish citizen, and then that transferred into a Danish citizenship.
I was born in Denmark by a Danish mother. My father is Polish. So my father came to Denmark 3 years or nearly 4 years after I was born, before I was born, and he became, and because the law in Denmark at the time was you follow your father's citizenship, that means that I was born Polish, but when he became a Danish citizen, me and my sisters and then my dad, of course, we became a Danish citizen, and I think that was in 1970, 10 years after he came.
You did other jobs though while juggling football, and that's kind of strange for a person who is contemplating a career as a serious footballer. So that was, I think, in a dyeing factory.
Yeah.
Dyeing factory, and then also in as a cleaner in an old folks home.
Yes.
And then
Carpet fitter. It's very much like Malaysia, where when I was a kid, where there weren't a professional football league, and it wasn't looked at to be a professional athlete. It wasn't looked up as a career opportunity, because unless you make it right to the top in the world,
Which you did.
Well, yeah, but things changed a lot in the beginning of my career. But there wasn't anything. There was no other option than to support yourself with having another job. And when I started in the best league in Denmark, I was paid, but it wasn't a full-time thing. I still had to support myself with having a job. So I could be working in the day and then play For instance, on a Wednesday night, I could be playing in the best league in Denmark, a very important game. That was just the way it was at the time. But in the sort of 6 or 7 years I played as a senior pro in Denmark, it changed from being that semi-pro to be full-time professional.
That experience was definitely a unique experience. So you think that that shaped you as a person?
I do believe it did. I think that to modern day pros, I have a better perspective of life. I appreciate more things. I appreciate that other people, they have different kind of lifestyles, and when you appreciate that, I think you respect them even more. And you know, even though I could have maybe kicked off a lot earlier in my career had I had the opportunities, I don't think I can find any regret in me for not having that. I think I was okay as it happened.
Was there a definitive moment where you thought, okay, I want to do this forever, this is my moment and I want to be a professional?
Ever since I can remember. Ever since, honestly, do you know what? When I started to play, we mentioned the day before. Back then, everyone was having, because all we really knew and all really supported was English football. Because that was the only thing that we would have on television, and only during the winter period. So we knew all the players, and we were sort of, every time we played, between us, we would be one of the players, or we would be one of the clubs. And I was always Manchester United, and it was George Best and Bobby Charlton's and all them, Alex Stepney in goal. And I will always be a Manchester United player. And every single day since I started to play, I dreamt about playing for Manchester United. So it was something I really, really wanted from all the way back till, I remember. So basically there wasn't a moment in my life where I said, oh, by the way, I want to do this. I always wanted to do it.
All right, now since you mentioned Manchester United and that was your dream, take me through your very first day of being there.
I played for our under-21s against England in the European Championship. We're playing home and away, and our away game was at Main Road in Manchester, Manchester City's old ground. And because I was such a big Manchester United fan, I was backing the coaches to say, come on, just on the way back from training or whatever, can we just go around Old Trafford? I want to see it. And one day I was successful. So after training, we went, all sweaty and everything in our training gear. We had the coach going past Old Trafford. And I went into reception, say, well, we're Danish under 21s, playing the Main Road. I'm a big, big fan. All I want to do in my life is just to see Old Trafford inside. And they let us in, and we were in the corner, and I was looking at this ground, and I'm thinking, I wish this game we were playing was here, and I really, really want to play here in the future. So that was the first time I was ever there. Second time was my first sort of initial chat with the then chairman, Martin Edwards, to see if we can come to some sort of agreement. And you think you come into his office and you're going to sit down and you're going to talk money and contract. He took me straight to the museum.
Oh.
Because he wanted, and we spent an awful lot of time there, he wanted to make sure that I understood that this is a club based on tradition and on history. And we have so many great traditions in the club. There are a lot of great history in the club. There's also a tragedy. If you don't understand and respect that, he didn't say it in those words, but if you don't understand and respect that, you've got no future here. But that was sort of the message. So being through the museum, then we went to the less important thing of signing the contract or talking about the contract. So that was the second time. So I've had two very sort of special visits to Old Trafford. One was, to even build the dream up even more. Second one was to achieving the dream.
Okay. We're just getting started here. Up next on Stadium Unplugged.
I was happy that I was that I had, the opportunity to do that, because a lot of my friends, a lot of my teammates, all they had was football.